Hey Vault Hunters, how you doing? Atomic Time Traveler here with another video. This time we are reviewing the new takedown at the Guardian Breach and the new enemy health nerf. So before we get started, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Even hit that dislike button, because really, honesty is always welcome. Diving into this, we are starting with footage of the newly nerfed Yellow Cake against Captain Trant. Even with the nerf, it's getting the job done pretty quickly. After my one failed attempt at getting a new Chaosin, I jumped right into the new takedown at Mayhem 10, because why not? As you can see, as soon as I started, the weapon damage really did not exist at all. My build right now is set up with Thick Fillet's build, the Zane Prime, which he just put out a couple days ago. It's a great build. Watch the video. I'll link it down below. He does great work with Zane. It utilizes a clone barrier action skill setup, but the issue here is my weapons. You can see the weapons here. A lot of the anointments are really just kind of useless. Like my OPQ, it's just not a good anointment. None of my stuff is really synergizing the way it should, and that's super important for any build, not just this one. The weapons and the anointments on all the gear have to synergize, and I'm missing that factor here. So really, I'm carrying a bunch of trash. Even the artifacts I have that have gun-specific damage or elemental damage, they're not enough. At one point, I even tried using a Yellow Cake, the same one that was on Trant, the action skill active 200 damage. You know, the enemies laughed at me. Let's be real, they laughed at me. The entire time they laughed at me, really. I was there for about 20 minutes. I was pretty much using a slingshot. They weren't fazed by it. I went to Mayhem 4, and as you can tell, it made a massive difference in gameplay and ability. I was happy with it. It felt good, even though it was a terrible setup. So I played for another hour, just about hour and a half. I made it past Anathema, the second set of crystals, and that was really it. I couldn't progress past that. And it wasn't the game, it was me. And that's what I think a big factor for the takedown is actually just the players ourselves. For me, I kept jumping off the map. I would do some really dumb things. I wasn't paying attention. So it was on me. Every now and then I would get knocked off the map by a random explosion or an enemy bumping into me. Sometimes too. And if I knew I shouldn't be close to the edge, that's when I started to get frustrated. It was me. So at that point, it didn't matter if I was Mayhem 0, Mayhem 10, Mayhem -5, it didn't matter. So with me only having about 2 hours experience with the takedown, my thoughts on it are that I love it. I really, really do love it. I know it's only out for a few days. I wish I could have played before they nerfed the health, knowing that it was that bullet spongy the enemies were. Is a really cool idea to me. I love our builds that the communities come up with, how creative we are, how determined we are to come up with something. I loved it. I love watching everyone come together, finding ways to beat this, working it out. It was really cool. And what I experienced, I love the takedown. I'm really happy with what Gearbox did. They did a fantastic job. They introduced a bunch of new mechanics. The immunity phases are fun. It's just a great experience. I like the idea that the takedown itself is difficult. I don't think it should be a guaranteed win. At this point, with the Malawan takedown, everyone's aced it. If you're dying, it's almost really just because, again, you're jumping off the map. So with all the praise on the takedown, I do think at least one thing for sure should be changed, is the drop rates for legendary gear, for the new legendary gear. They need to increase the drop rates, without a doubt. I would feel terrible doing this run, and after being on this thing for upwards of an hour sometimes, getting the same thing I can get in the world drops is a bad feeling. I know Gearbox is going to come through and fix this. They do all the time. They listen to us, so that's going to be great. Checkpoints, I know a lot of people have brought that up. I can understand why they would want that. I myself, I'm kind of a glutton for punishment, so I wouldn't really care if they didn't add an extra one, but I know a lot of the community is calling for it, so if Gearbox does throw it in, hey, that's great. They listen. I'm kind of impartial to it. If they throw it in, I'm going to be happy. I can't say don't do it, Gearbox, because that's not fair, because I'm kind of indifferent to it. Something I was kind of concerned about just watching streams was that it seemed to be like the Malawan takedown, the mob aspect of it, but once you got into the game at a manageable level, like I did at Mayhem 4, it's really, really fun. You got enemies flying all over the place. They're more erratic than the Malawan soldiers are. It's really, really cool. It's really fun. With the crystals involved also, it really, really does add to the hecticness of the takedown. So kudos there. And as far as the weapons go, I know right now Monarch and the Recursion are essentially king. They're go-tos. They're a must for the takedown for almost everybody. I do, again, kind of touching back on what happened with my experience. I also do think that for some builds, you just have to synergize what you have. That you're not just relying on gun card damage and anything in your action skills. You have to sync everything up. I saw several players the past few days going with no anointments on their shields or on their grenades, or they had just terrible anointments on there. Things that didn't match up at all. And something else to consider, guys, we're getting patch 2 here very, very soon. It might be next Thursday. That's going to give us more buffs. Some nerfs are involved too, I'm sure, and that's super important. So we can hang in there if we're going to make it. And something else to consider with your builds, guys, math is crazy important in this game. I didn't know about math until 2 or 3 months ago when I started watching streamers. Understand some of the basics as far as how some damage is multiplicative, some is additive, why some anointments are worse than others and some are better than others. Any of the big time content creators and people in the community will gladly help you and steer you in the right direction. Vault Hunters, that's my honest opinion on this thing. I think it's fantastic. It's not the typical raid boss that everyone's calling for, but I think this is a great thing that Gearbox has done. And for the next takedown, I want to see what they do. Eventually, I like to see kind of an elite option to where the bullet sponginess of what this takedown was originally, I want to see that come back once we get more level increases. If we get more characters or skill trees, I want that option to come back to where it's going to really test everybody. So yeah. The game's going to balance a lot. It's going to grow a lot. It's only 10 months old. Any bugs you experience, any feedback you have, please send it to Gearbox. They're very receptive. We all know this at this point. So yeah, everybody, that's it. Make sure you're working on your builds. Make sure you're farming for the right gear to synergize with your builds. And overall, good luck in this thing because it is crazy. It is an amazing thing. I love it. I don't care if it takes me a month to beat it. I'm going to be happy every time, unless I just keep yeeting myself off the map. Then that's on me, and I'll throw my controller. But really, that's it, Vault Hunters. Thank y'all so much. I'll see you on the next video.